You're welcome, Maharaj. Thank you very much, Maharaj.
Thank you for your patience. I just had another class. Never book me for Tuesday or Friday, all right?
Thank you, Maharaj.
I have a lot of classes on those days.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, what verse are we on?
So we may put the verse on the screen. All right.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, first canto, chapter 17, verse 45. Itam
Etam
bhuttabhavo
Vatanubhavo
ayam
Ayam
abhimanyu suto
Abhimanyu Suto
nipa
Niripa
yasya
Yasha
pralayata
Palayata
chatam chonim
Chanim
yuyam
Yuyam
satraya
Satraya
dikshita.
Ikshita.
No, now let's chant the whole verse a few times. Itam bhutanu bhavoyam
Etam Bhutanubhavuyam
abhimanyu suto nripa
Abhimanyu Suto Niripa
yasya palayata chonim
Asha Palayata Kshonim
yuyam satraya dikshita.
Yoyam Satraya Dikshita
Itanu bhutanu bhavoyam
Etam Bhutanubhavuyam
abhimanyu suto nripa
Abhimanyu Suto Niripa
yasya palayata chonim
Yasya Palayata Kshonim
yuyam satraya dikshita.
Yoyam Satraya Dikshita
Uttam bhuta,
Etam Bhuta
being thus,
being thus
anubhava,
Anubhava
experience,
experience
ayam,
I am
of this,
of this
Abhimanyu Sutta,
Abhimanyu Sutta,
son of Abhimanyu,
son of Abhimanyu,
Nipa,
Niripa,
the king,
the king,
Yasya,
Yasya,
whose,
whose,
Pralayata,
Pralayata,
on account of his ruling,
on account of his ruling,
Shonim,
Shonim,
on the earth,
on the earth,
Yuyam,
Yuyam,
you all,
you all,
Satraya,
Satraya,
in performing sacrifice,
in performing sacrifices,
Dikshita,
Dikshita,
initiated.
initiated.
Maharaj Pricket, the son of Abhimanyu, is so experienced that by dint of his expert administration and patronage, it is impossible for you to perform this sacrifice. Purport by His Divine Grace. The Brahmin and the sannyasis are expert in spiritual advancement of society, whereas the Kshatriyas or the administrators are expert in the material peace and prosperity of human society. Both of them are pillars of all happiness. Therefore, they are meant for full cooperation for common welfare. Maharaj Pricket was experienced enough to drive away Kali from his field of activities and thereby make the state receptive to spiritual enlightenment. If the common people are not receptive, it is very difficult to impress them on the necessity of spiritual enlightenment. Austerity, cleanliness, mercy, and truthfulness, the basic principles of religion, prepare the ground for the reception of advancement of spiritual knowledge. And Maharaj Parikshit made this favorable condition possible. Thus, the rishis of Naimisharanya were able to perform the sacrifice for 1,000 years. In other words, without state support, or doctrines of philosophy or religious principles can progressively advance. There should be complete cooperation between the Brahmanas and the Kshatriyas for this common goal. Good. Even up to Maharaj Ashoka, the same spirit was prevailing. Lord Buddha was sufficiently supported by Maharaj Ashoka, and thus his particular cult of knowledge was spread all over the world. Thus in the Bhaktivedanta purport of the first canto, 17th chapter of the Bhagavatam, entitled Punishment and Reward of Kali. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desatarane Vanchakalpa Turubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnave Bhyo Namaha. Namo Mahavaranyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namani Gora Tvishe Namaha. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavanishari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya. So Sade's moved to China or something? So there are different kinds of people. This is why we, in a Varnashram system, it's not an artificial system. By nature, some people are Kshatriya, some people are Vaishya. But in Kali Yuga, we don't find pure anything. We find everything mixed up. And we find people that think they're Kshatriyas, but they're really Sudras, and they're getting into government offices, and they're not really protecting the people, or because the real Kshatriya will protect the Brahmanas and promote religion. To some extent, that goes on in the modern world because many countries, there's no taxes for religious institutions and things like that. They're giving some facility. But not so much because they're not guided by the Brahmanas, so they don't really know what is religion, what is not religion, and everybody gets covered. So Parikshit was trained since childhood. Of course, he was born and conceived to be the next king, because he was the only Pandava left. The Pandavas didn't try to have more children. They were more concerned with their spiritual advancement. But he was, and even when he was very young, when Yudhishthira and they all left after Krishna's disappearance, the ministers took charge, but he was being trained. So he was perfectly trained how to administer the kingdom. Now I was thinking today, this is Kali Yuga, and every day we get more and more information how Kali Yuga is acting, how the corruption, how the quarreling, dissent or discontent, within families, within societies, within political parties, within companies. Everywhere there's discontent. There's people that are arguing, they have different views. And like in our society, that impedes our preaching very much. But this is the trick of Kali. So there are people, we have a problem. We have some problem in the society, and they're thinking to blame one person, we'll eliminate that person, and then everything will be all right. But it's not like that. Like, you could question, why didn't Parikshit kill Kali? Why he didn't just kill him, because he could see this person's really bad. But he gave him some facility. But during Parikshit's lifetime, Parikshit was so powerful that Kali was unable to act. But he was still there, and when Parikshit was gone and there wasn't any king so strong, then Kali could act. So now we have the Kali Yuga. Fortunately, this is a very special Kali Yuga where Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared with the Sankirtan movement. And it's creating a golden age within the Kali Yuga. Sometimes, when you look around, it doesn't, you can see, well, where is this golden age? Everything is crazy. But see how many people are chanting compared to 50 years ago. Nobody was chanting in the world. Nobody, even in India, hardly anybody, just a few people in Bengal, and many of them were just Sahajya. But now, like I'm at Govardhan, and so many people going around Govardhan. And there was a youth program just from Delhi and Pune, I think. And there were 5,000 boys, all, coming to chant and hear about Krishna and go around Govardhan for a few days. And that's happening all over the world. Some places not that many. India, of course, is very big at the moment. So this is Lord Chaitanya's golden age. We have to pay attention to that. Now, different countries are different. Some countries you go out, everybody likes it. People want to join. People take books, donate. Other places hardly notice us. Some places we're restricted legally, but still it's growing. Books are being distributed. People are tuning in from all remote parts of the world on the internet to connect with devotees. So the Kali Yuga, the Kali Yuga things that Maya's created for the people to enjoy, devotees are using, and we're spreading. We have to work in that mood that we want more devotees. We want to increase. We want to spread the holy name. I just put something on my Facebook that I just happened to see. And it was interesting. It says the church is not a building. I've seen in Nigeria and Lagos, I think I saw some, churches that advertise like that, beyond the four walls. So this is some Christian group in America. And so the headline is, the church is not a building. It says, I'm with circuit riders ministry in Southern California. And we have weekly services and we tour across America. He's not contained in 4 walls or to 8 days, to a day in the week. He's in the streets. That's where the need is. So you can see that.
Yes, Maharaj.
It looks like the same place where devotees do Harinam in Southern California. It's at one beach or something, but there's Christians and some of them they're all young, and this is what everybody likes to do, you know. So they're glorifying the Lord, and we're doing that also. Church buildings are valuable, but only when we go out and give the holy name to the world. Otherwise, nobody will come to the church if we don't get devotees out chanting and preaching. They won't get enlivened, they won't make advancement very much, and they won't stay at the temple. They'll come for a little while. So this is our mission. Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama Eva Kevalam. Kaluna Stevana, Stevana, Steva Gataranyata. Get out of the temple, you know. We want a temple, but to come back to rest, to organize, to store books, you know, to bring guests to so they can meet devotees. But, you know, ISKCON was started by Srila Prabhupada by himself. He was just chanting, a few people, you know, wherever he could find somebody. He went out every day, wrote letters every day. One by one, he met a few people. And then when he had a few people chanting in the temple, he said, let's go out and chant. The devotees were embarrassed, but they went out and they saw that, you know, people liked it. And it started going every day. In every country, Africa, same thing. Harinam got started, made devotees. Of course, we have to keep devotees by being pure, not that we're just musicians or trying to collect money, but we're trying to give the holy name to everybody. We're not going to get a lot of government support, but the government, most countries are not against us at the moment, so we should take advantage of that, because we don't know when things are going to change. Take advantage of the, you know, the constitution of most countries, the freedom of religion. Practice, chant for the, you know, benefit of everyone. Tapasya, like Lord Shiva, he drank the ocean of poison to protect everybody. Otherwise, it was spreading all over. And so it says that great souls almost always accept difficulty and suffering for the sake of others. So devotees feel compassion when people are suffering. What are we going to do about it? Get out, you know, distribute the books, be happy, serve devotees, you know, no quarreling, spread the holy name. Because Kali, his work is to make everybody quarrel. And when we're busy quarreling, we don't preach and we lose faith. We start to like one devotee, not like another one. Quarrel over petty little things. Mostly trying to establish myself as something better than somebody else. That's the false ego. But ego, we had to engage, in menial service and respect devotees, do something for Krishna. Offer whatever we're doing, we want to be offering it for the pleasure of the Guru and Krishna. So we should be thinking, was this pleasure? My Guru like this? Is this what he wants me to do? And then do it. Now, it may be cooking, maybe cleaning. There's no higher or lower to keep the temple clean. We tend to think, well, the new bhaktas, they clean and I just tell them what to do. No, everybody, cleaning is Brahminical activity. Parikshit was a great devotee, but since he was a king, he had to act like a king. So, but the king here is he's protecting the citizens. He's taking care of them so the brahmanas can act and do their work. So if we're the temple president, if we're the leader, if we're the national council, we want to help make facility for the devotees that are preachers or, or whatever they are, if they're Sudras also, but because we don't discriminate like that, everyone is a devotee, but we need all kinds of different work. So the leaders, the managers, we like to call ourselves leaders, but actually we should say we should not think I'm a leader. We want to be followers. If you're a good follower of your spiritual master, then others will follow you. If we're thinking I'm a leader and you have to follow me because I'm the president or I'm the something, I'm the husband, I'm the teacher, I'm the mother, it doesn't work. But if we're following lovingly the spiritual master, we're following the scripture, then others will be attracted and they will also follow. So that's why we have the examples right in the first canto, so many great kings, Yudhishthira, Bhishma, Parikshit, and throughout the Bhagavatam, we have Prithu Maharaj, we have Dhruva, so many different kings are described. So much advice is given for kings. And Bhishma's teaching to Parikshit is to Yudhishthira is like, I don't know, like almost half of the Mahabharata. It's a huge part of the Mahabharata. And it's all, he talks about every kind of dharma, but Raja Dharma he has to know how to take care of women, what kind of work they should do, what kind of work Sudras should do, how to protect children, how to protect cows, how to make friends. Special advice to Yudhishthira as a king is the king's, one of his main things, he should try to make friends as much as possible. You don't want to make enemies. But if someone is inimical, if you have a lot of friends, they can help you to deal with the enemy. If you've made everyone else your enemy, you're going to have trouble. So we have to be careful, make friends, especially with devotees. Krishna is the best friend of everyone. When we preach, we want to be friendly. We don't want to think, I know more than you. I hope we've given that up, but I saw when I first came to Africa, sometimes we'd go to a Christian place and devotees were like, they didn't listen to anybody. They were just thinking, we know more, we have more knowledge, but sometimes we don't have so much faith as other people in a different, like Christian or Muslim. They don't have so much detailed knowledge of God or the spiritual world, but they have great faith. But they don't know what's right or wrong, really. Nobody teaches them, but somehow they have great faith in God. We see this in India, that people have so much faith in whatever they're worshiping, demigod or whatever. That if they do some kind of puja, or they just do some bow down, some mantras, they'll get what they want. But we have to have faith in the spiritual master, disciplic succession. That means Prabhupada's guidance, Prabhupada's purports. He told us everything. He gave us all knowledge, how to run a society. As long as we stick to that, we'll be successful. And as long as we deviate, we're going to have all kinds of trouble. Everybody becomes blind and is just going off in all different directions, thinking I'm the visionary, but actually we're blind, just groping in the dark, trying to do something different than Prabhupada. All right, so let's see if there's any questions.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much, Maharaj. And we would like to apologize for the timing. Obviously, the time we scheduled for this seemed to be quite difficult for many devotees to join. So we didn't have many devotees, and yourself too, you were just sharing with us that you had other commitments, but
Well, yeah,
to come to.
I should have noted it down. I just
So thank you so much.
hectic life lately.
So dear devotees, if anyone has a question for Maharaj, please kindly unmute yourself and then you ask your question. Maharaj, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada was talking about the importance and the need of governments, states, helping the preaching movement. And Srila Prabhupada was saying that, and as a result, there must be harmony between the devotees and the state. Now, I do not see how much we try to do that, because I'm saying this from my limited experience, and that is usually when there is calamity in a state, in a country, I usually find other religious bodies go in to help. And I do not see us do much of that. So is there something we could do in that regard?
Yeah, some devotees do that. Food for Life, in India, or some country, like now in this Ukraine and Russia, devotees set up huge prasadam distribution and, taking care of the refugees and all kinds of things. It's still going on. It had to do it on the border where devotees, not only devotees, but so many people are coming across the border, and they've been walking for days or waiting for 3 days in the immigration line or something, and they have Food for Life, and and now we're doing a little bit Food for Life in Africa. And you can do that, but the point is, if you in the case here, he's a devotee. In the case of Ashoka, the Emperor Ashoka, he was emperor of India at the time of Lord Buddha, or maybe right after, and somehow he became Buddhist, and he started supporting Buddhism, and and then Buddhism spread all over India, and from there all over the world after Shankaracharya chased it out of India. But that's what gave Buddhism the big boost, was the king was supporting it. So governments, sometimes they support one, like the Muslim. And sometimes like in some countries, they really support the Muslim. They build the mosque, they do everything. So Muslims become very prominent. But other religions are maybe sometimes not even allowed, or if they are allowed, it's very restricted.
Well, I remember like here in the States,
If we're preaching nicely and we're behaving very nicely, and of course, when some countries, devotees do very good work but usually it's just interfaith work, you know, meeting these people and becoming friendly with other, but we don't want to use all our energy just trying to find the latest flood or something. We don't have that kind of facility, you know. But devotees go and do Harinam, and people really appreciate you in prasadam distribution. You can do that wherever there's some kind of trouble, then that's what we do. Give spiritual counseling.
Yeah, I remember when we had the Katrina hurricane, lots of devotees went there to distribute lots of prasadam.
When you
And
have what?
actually, we were on the news, so that was really nice.
When we had what?
Katrina, the hurricane.
In America.
Yes, Maharaj.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not only devotees, there's Christian groups from all over the country. They have, you know, tractor trailer trucks full of supplies ready to go.
Yeah.
And as soon as something like that happens, they're all on the way.
Yeah.
And devotees did it also. And they do it for so many different things. In India, they do when there's earthquakes, doing it when this Ukraine war, even inside the Ukraine where the bombs are flying, devotees were doing, you know, food for life there, and people loved them. They made a lot of friends and even distributed a lot of books.
So what do we say to some devotees? Because I've heard from some devotees, and some of these devotees are like very senior devotees who say that when people are going through suffering like that, just leave them alone, is their karma. Or if someone is hungry and begging for food, they may say, don't give him anything other than the prasadam you have on you. If you don't have prasadam on you, don't give money, because they may not use it for the food. And even if you give them the money, they're going to buy boga, eat, have energy, and go about doing their own nonsense. So don't help such.
But we want to distribute prasadam because it's true. If you give money, they might not buy food. They might buy cigarettes or whiskey or, you know, who knows what. They want to give prasadam.
Yeah, but the devotee may not have prasadam on him. Maybe
Well, then we have to give them the holy name and pray. We should have more prasadam distribution. There's so many people who are hungry. And we get support for that. Even in some countries, the government supports the prasadam distribution. And become popular. Because people believe that that's like a real religious activity. They don't believe so much in book distribution and teaching about God. The governments, they believe in feeding people and, you know, medical clinics and everything. But prasadam distribution is not very difficult to do, and we're doing it to some extent. Do it, just try to do it more. Krishna will help you.
Thank you. Anyone else with a question? Before we
beggars are always asking for money, you know. But
yeah.
like here in India and Vrindavan, there's so much free food for the sadhu beggar type people, you know, so much. But still they stand there and say, give me money, and they're pointing at food, but they're not going to spend it for food. They get free food so many places. they're going to spend it for, something else. Sometimes we give them a little bit, depends on their condition. All right.
Yeah, thank you, Mary. Anyone with any question?
Otherwise, since it's an odd time, I'm willing to stop. Prabhupada's classes, were some of them are 15 minutes, maximum 25, 30 minutes that he
Yes.
actually taught. Except in the very early time, we did longer ones. And they had more power than our 4-day seminars, And
Of course.
more effect.
Arichagra, you have a question? You may unmute, please.
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Dandava Prana Maharaj. Please accept my obeisances. I'm just making a reference to, I think this question Saturday was asking about giving money. I remember one time, Maharaj, you were giving a class and somebody asked a similar question. And then you said that, well, if there is no prashadam, if you are not a devotee, you are not holding a prashadam, then you can give some sort of money, because simply because that you are a devotee and you have touched that money and you give that money to the person might get some benefit.
Well, it depends on what they do with the money.
Okay.
Which you can't control. But Prabhupada would give beggars little money, and Lord Chaitanya did that, and that way it looks favorable, But like say here in Vrindavan, if you give one beggar a little money, before you can turn around, you got 20 of them attacking you, And there's big lines of them. But, people give them very small money, but at the end of the day, they have a lot of coins and they can get something, because they may need some clothes, they may need, something. They have children sometimes. So some people you can help like that.
There are so many things I'm learning from this purport that Sri Prabhupada gave, and it's amazing. And Maharaj, your explanations to the question also. Salika Prabhu, please, you may unmute.
Okay, thank you very much, Sadi. Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my respectful obeisances. Our grace is confidential, all goes to you, Maharaj. Thank you very much, Maharaj, for being here with us. My question is, Prabhupada gave it in the purport of the text we're reading today. And towards the end of the purport, Prabhupada said that if the common men, if the common people are not receptive, it is very difficult to impress upon them the necessity of spiritual enlightenment, then, which is austerity, cleanliness, mercy, and truthfulness. Then he went for that to say that the basic principles of religion prepare the ground for the reception of advancement. For spiritual advancement in spiritual knowledge. And Maharaj Parishit made this favorable condition. And while you are giving the class, you emphasize on cooperation within our yatra, especially West Africa. And then you reference some of the experiences you had when you came initially to West Africa. And I'm looking at several of the instructions that you've given Maharaj, and looking at the cooperation level within our yatra. What to do when you try to work with other devotees, but they seem not to want to cooperate, because the instruction is there and you're trying to extend yourself to make yourself available, but someone is not willing to. He just feels he cannot trust the devotee. He feels that he cannot trust anyone, so he doesn't want to work. So I don't know. How do we deal with that kind of situation?
Well, we all need more kirtan. We don't have, many devotees, they hardly get any kirtan. Maybe Mangalarti, so we need more kirtan. We need to not push people to, cooperation doesn't mean you just do whatever I tell you. It means that, we listen to them also, find out what they need, be loving, fatherly, Bhakti Tirthamraj always stressed being fatherly. That you care about people and you listen to them and try to find out what they need, what they want, what is their desire. And, but more kirtan, because in kirtan, everybody cooperates, right?
Yeah.
Of course, many of the people, and then you get practice of cooperating. Someone is leading the kirtan, everybody follows the same melodies, and the same song. You don't usually get somebody arguing that you should be different. But, and then we get in practice of appreciating other devotees, seeing everybody dancing and chanting joyfully. So the more we do that, that's how the whole movement started everywhere in the world. There was nothing else, just kirtan and prasadam and Bhagavad Gita. No temples, no problems, no, children very much. Everything was no old people, and we just chanted and everything was all right. But then we got distracted, and we want to build big temples and we want to have this and we want to be the president, we want to be in charge. And then we get in trouble.
Okay, thank you very much for that.
So
I have a,
more kirtan, it sounds too simple, but that's the medicine. Bhavoshadi, the great medicine.
thank you for that. I have a follow-up question to that. Actually, what I'm trying to ask this question is, I remember when we joined initially, we go on Harinam virtually almost every other day. If we're not on Sankirtan, we're on Harinam. I remember for about a period of about even 4 or 5 years, we were consistently every day, including Sundays on Harinam, traveling Harinam, local Harinam. But we don't see that happening in our yatra now. I don't know whether that has to do with the level of devotee decadence. How do I put it? Because we don't see many people joining the movement these days. And even when people comes around, when they appreciate the philosophy, they like our philosophy, maybe probably because we don't have the kind of community that attracts people. They don't want to join fully. When we came to Krishna consciousness, we were able to get connected, and then the mood was easy. We were just 100% giving up everything and then joining the temple. But we don't see that happening now. People, even when they appreciate the philosophy, when we give them books, they like the book, they like the philosophy, but they don't want to give full time to the process. And in this way, practically almost all our temples are empty. And the congregational development also is not, I'm talking from practical experience. Maybe I'm not talking about anybody, I'm talking about myself, because I've seen that I have a quite good number of people who I interact with, who takes books, they read the books. Some of them take 1 or 2 aspects of the Krishna consciousness. But when it comes to the regular congregation, maybe it's lack of my competence, I don't know. But I don't see that kind of, and I'm seeing it happening in every other places also, but I'm particular about the place I'm managing. What can be done to change this kind of a situation? Because we're concerned, most of us are leaving, and then many of our God brothers is gone. And then looking at particularly our yatra, and even where I am, if I slump today and leave, there's nobody there. So, Maharaj, what can be done? What do you advise?
Well, lots of prayer. The world is changing, Bhakti Tirtha talked about, I can't remember the term he used, the changes of the world, you know, the mood of the people, the economy of different countries is much different than it was. And now we have old devotees and we have families. You know, we can't have that same, although some parts of the world, they still get that with a lot of young boys joining, girls just doing sanctity. We need everything though, but other people have to be engaged according to what they can do. We can't think that if they don't just surrender fully, they're no good. If just be happy that someone will, but we want them to take some kind of regular practice, because if they take any kind of regular practice, it will increase. You know.
Okay, Maharaj. Thank you.
And, you know, we got, you know, we want to make temples, it's expensive, and we end up just dealing with the Indians to get donations, and we're not paying attention to the other people. This happened everywhere. Almost, not in, you know, Russia or Eastern Europe. So they still make a lot of local devotees. But we want to make the Indians devotees also, but, you know, they should be helping us to preach to the local people, whatever they are, Africans or Japanese or Chinese or whatever.
Well, Maharaj, we can't thank you enough for being in our zone, trying all your best to help us.
Well, I hope you try to help me, because I was quite frustrated with the way they handled this shipment that we sent. But there was a mistake in the beginning by the devotee who shipped it. And the devotees didn't catch on. The Indian agent didn't catch on, and they didn't follow up. And it was anyway, we got the books now. We got all these 250,000 on chanting pamphlets. So let's distribute them. We got French, we got English, and just distribute them. They're donated. And if you get donation, great, but make sure you use it for more preaching. It doesn't cost much to go out on Harinam and give out books. You know. Sometimes in some place we have to drive somewhere or take the bus or something, but mostly just go out, you know, and like Ganga Prasad is doing in front of his temple every morning.
Yes. Thank you so much, Maharaj.
Thank you, Maharaj. Good try.
This it's I don't know exactly the next chapter 18, but Maharaj, this chapter deals with leadership, and as a result, it has caused some sort of issues amongst some devotees, because some of us ask questions based on what Srila Prabhupada is saying, what the text is saying. But when you do ask the question, somebody thinks that you're asking the question because of him or her. And as such, we unknowingly have stepped on some devotees' toes. And so we apologize if anybody feels hurt. No, I don't think anybody intentionally or deliberately meant to ask questions to hurt anybody, but sometimes Srila Prabhupada's purports are quite heavy, and we ask questions based on that. It's leadership, so that is the problem. Thank you, Maharaj.
Okay, thank you very much.
Hare
So I
Krishna.
have to go. It was supposed to be a solar eclipse today, but I didn't notice anything. I don't think it happened.
Oh, I didn't even know about that.
In India, you know, it's
Oh,
never
in
happened.
India, okay.
Okay. Okay, thank you all
All right,
very much.
so devotees, please kindly unmute, and then we chant
Hare
loudest
Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Jai.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Rama,
Hare
Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Rama
Rama
Rama,
Rama, Hare Hare.
Pancha
Vancha
Kalpatarubhascha,
kapatarubhyacha, kripa sindhya ivacha,
Patitanam
Titanam
Pavanabhyo
Pavanabhyo
Vaishnavibhyo
Vaishnavibhyo Namo
Namaha.
Namaha.
All glories to His Holiness Kavicandra Swami Maharaj ki.
Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.